Today we're going to create the background of our portrait. So the supplies we're going to have, we're going to be setting this part aside for now. We're going to get a really nice piece of watercolor paper. This kind of paper is a little thicker and it's actually kind of expensive, so you only get one of these today. And the reason it's so nice is it's probably kind of hard to see, but in the paper, it has different fibers that will kind of hold in that paint. So we're gonna get one piece of paper, and then our table is going to be sharing a water cup. We'll each get a paintbrush. There'll be 2 watercolor trays, so maybe 2 kids can share a tray. You can put it between you, and then you can each have a paper towel. All right, so the kinds of paint we're going to be using today are watercolors. Now, watercolors, I bet a lot of you have tried them before, but I just want to tell you some things. So watercolor paints, you need water to make them work. That's why they have the name. So these things right here are called the paint cakes. I know it seems weird because they're not like a cake you could eat, but right now they haven't been used in a while, so they are dry. Okay, so I need to activate my watercolor paints. Before I do that, I want to show you the brush. So this is Mr. Brush, and Mr. Brush loves having his hair go straight up. Okay, so that's just what he prefers. He doesn't like to go to school with a crazy hair day like we've had before. That is embarrassing to him, or a bad hair day. Sometimes that can happen when somebody's been smashing the brush too hard, or maybe it needs water. And he likes to get his hair washed a lot. So we're gonna wash our brush a lot today. So the first thing we need to do with the brush and the water is we need to activate these paints. We're not gonna touch the brush to it, but we're just gonna drip, and everybody at the table can do this together. Put a little drop in each one. Okay, and if you're ever just doing this on your own, you'd only need to do it to the colors that you know you're gonna use, but since we're using them as a group, probably a lot of them will get used. So after a minute or two, then they'll be nice and kind of soft, and they'll even get gooey, and the colors can become more vibrant. All right, so I wanna show you some cool techniques you can use. Now, the back of our picture is not intended to be like another picture necessarily, because we're going to be laying our portrait on top of it. So if I have this on top of it, you know, if I tried to paint something else like a dog or a bowl of fruit or a bicycle, it's going to get covered up by this. So really today is just going to be kind of like experimenting and having fun with the paints, thinking about your favorite colors. So the one way I can do that is, well, I'm going to start with yellow because yellow tends to get dirty real easily, so you may want to do that too. The one way you might paint is just taking your wet brush right onto the dry paper. Okay, that's probably what you're most familiar with. Okay, but I want to show you something different. So I'm going to wash my brush. And instead of just painting onto the dry paper, I'm going to get some of it wet over here. So this is called wet on wet. This is wet on dry paper, wet on wet. So I'll try a different color just for fun. So it kind of bleeds into the other parts of the paper. You see how it's kind of doing that? Almost like the way tie-dye would look. You could also go back and wash your brush and try another color in that mix and see if they blend together. Okay? Some other cool things you might want to try today are you might want to try letting them drip a little bit. Okay, so you're just kind of creating some fun colors in the background. It would be so fun if we could splatter, but we're not going to do that because it can really just ruin our iPads. It can ruin other people's artwork. So no splatter painting today, all right? I know that it's super cool and it is really fun. Maybe we could try to do that outside sometime, but right now we're gonna hold back from that because we don't want to ruin anybody else's art. Okay, so you can fill in different colors that you love. All right, if you get too dark, like if you make it like really with the blacks, that could be cool, but just remember, this portrait is gonna go on top of it. So you don't want it to get totally lost if this is like pure black. All right, so you're gonna fill in your whole paper with the colors that you love and the techniques that you want to try. Okay, I'm just putting some wet down just to see what's gonna happen over here. Let it kind of blend in with that. All right, so fill up your whole background, and then, oh my goodness, Miss Rolig, you know what I forgot that I should have said at the beginning? I should have had my name at the bottom, small, with my teacher's initial. If you can't do it really small at the bottom, just do it on the back before you get started. So if I have kind of a dirty brush and I want to switch colors, let's say I'm in green here. Okay, and I want to switch colors and I'm washing it. Here's another thing I can do. Instead of tapping it off, I can just dab it on the paper towel. Another cool thing you could do with the paper towel is you could try grabbing some of the colors from there and pulling it up. Okay, it doesn't totally go away, but it'll create a different look. So that's another fun idea. When you're done, you can bring it over to the drying rack in the back.